Let's talk all about OCD and using imaginal scripts. Stay tuned, that's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist and make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about imaginal scripts. It's a fancy word that therapists use when they are helping you crush your OCD by writing a story that has all the elements that your OCD uses as a weapon against you. So I want to talk to you about why we do this, how to use it, and even how to use it on your own if you're learning how to crush your own OCD. So when you think about OCD, really, it's not the intrusive thoughts that are the problem. I know that can seem wrong, but it's actually the distress that the intrusive thoughts bring on. And so we all have intrusive thoughts. I don't have intrusive thoughts like you do. You don't have ones like me. And people with OCD they're bombarded with intrusive thoughts that are so overwhelming. It's not the fact that you have intrusive thoughts that's a problem. It's the level of distress that they're causing in your life. And the goal with OCD treatment and OCD approaches is to reduce the distress that those intrusive thoughts cause. And part of the way that OCD works is it's kind of like a jump scare. It's like you're going about your business and then, you're having this thought and you're like, whoa, that was really upsetting and really weird. And then you're going about your day and then, oh my gosh, another thought. And so you're just getting like jump scare intrusive thoughts all day long, right? Like an uninvited guest in your brain. And they're scary and upsetting or uncomfortable, whatever it is for you. And so part of learning how to handle OCD and make it a small little tiny gnat instead of a huge monster is to learn how to go to the metaphorical OCD gym, build your muscles so you can discount those intrusive thoughts and say, yep, there's an OCD thought. Yep, there's an intrusive OCD thought without getting stuck on them. Because that's the part that we get fearful, we get stuck, and then OCD's like swinging in with the conclusion. Do you want me to help you with this? All you have to do is this, or all you have to avoid is this. I got your back. I'll make this go away. And so OCD comes in with the solution like it's a superstar when actually it's the one that created the havoc to begin with. And so part of developing your OCD muscles and taking away the power from the intrusive thought, from OCD, is learning how to expose yourself to them. And sometimes that helps normalize the overwhelming feeling that you're having. It can almost sometimes make it seem silly, or it can distance the intensity of it. So an imaginal script is really like a story that you would write if your OCD was your author. So think about it that way. OCD is the author, and OCD is like, let me craft a story for you that wraps this intrusive thought all together. And so you would write a story. I often would have people write it in first person. Like I was walking to the store and I, X, Y, and Z, whatever your intrusive thoughts are. So you're basing them on what OCD would tell you. And if you're not sure, just spend some time paying attention to your intrusive thoughts, which I'm sure you do all the time anyway, and you'll have content for this story. For some people that I would work with, we would start really, really small, and we would write just like 1 or 2 sentences. And they would read it every day or a couple times a day to really like just desensitize them to the story. They're like, yep. And so when OCD is like, oh my gosh, what if this happens? Or OCD's like, here's an intrusive thought about what you're eating. You're like, yeah, I thought about that all day long because I already read a bunch of stories about that today. It bores the brain. It's one component. And so I normally start off really small and then I add more depth, more details. I've had kids that in my practice wanted to make a play about it. They acted it out. They recorded it. They watched the play. They role played with other people. They had fun with it as much as you can with exposures. They had fun with it, and they would add sound effects and special effects. They would go crazy with it, and then they would watch that as an exposure. That's really powerful, especially for things that you are having a hard time thinking of, like what you can expose yourself to. If it's something that you really are having a hard time coming up with an exposure in concrete terms. over time, in general, we're going to want you to do exposures that are in the real world, not just in your imagination. But Imaginal scripts is a great place to start. It's also a great supplement that you can add. Sometimes I would have people read a story while doing something really scary. So like if they have intrusive thoughts about harm, that they might harm themselves or stab themselves, we might start off with a story, and then we might have a story that they're listening to as they have like a knife on their lap or something like that. Or we might have an intrusive story about something as they're touching something. And so you can actually incorporate an imaginal script or a story as a layering on top of actually doing an exposure. And it actually makes the exposure a little bit more powerful. Sometimes just to bring awareness, I've used sticky notes where people will put sticky notes around the house that are the intrusive thought. And so it's like, I'm having this intrusive thought all the time, everywhere, even when OCD is quiet, and it loses its power really quickly, especially when I make them kind of silly or funny or goofy. It bores my brain over time. So I wanted to explain to you what imaginal scripts are and some fun, interesting ways that you can use them at whatever level you're comfortable, because it's another great tool to add to your toolbox. Well, if you want in-depth support, I do have an online course to walk you through how to develop your OCD skills one small step at a time. You can check that out at atparentingsurvivalschool.com. I have courses for you, for kids and teens. I have courses for parents to take to teach their kids these tools. And sometimes the parent wants to take one and the child or teen wants to take one, and then you have your skills super powered. Don't forget to find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll talk to you again next Thursday. Take care.